Hey everyone, this is Sherry. So happy to be here. And I wanted to talk about the name, our name, my name, your name, our names. I had a experience where I felt like God was saying, I call you by name. And one of my missions is to help set the captives free. And, I do think that on this path I've been on in life, I was dying, and and again, I've had an experience where like I've had the opportunity to die while still being alive, like not physically die, but more of like a spiritual death, or maybe not even a spiritual death, but like a loss of myself, of who I thought I was. Maybe it's a perception of who I thought I was, an illusion of who I thought I was. And one of the things that I kept hearing was, I call you by name, I call you by name. And I do believe that God calls all of us by name, and that our names are really significant. And one of the things I realized was that I have had this shame around my name. Not that I'm embarrassed about my name being Sherry, but this shame or this like awkwardness of saying my name. And there would be this time where like when I'd get up to speak, as a facilitator, personal development facilitator, or even as a therapist, I'd be asked to speak at different things. And I would get up to speak, and it's like, okay, you introduce yourself. My name is Sherry. My name is Sherry Overstreet. This is who I am, whatever. And I noticed that like, well, this just came to me recently. I didn't notice it at the time, but now I realize like I've had a difficult time with saying my name. That there's some sort of like detachment from the name. Like, that's not really me. Like, I don't know that Sherry is. And since I've had this experience of I call you by name, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I honor my name. Like, I now honor my name. So one of the things that happened was I had, and I don't know if you've seen the video. If you haven't seen the video, I highly encourage you to check it out. So I did this video where my hair looks weird. Whatever. It's growing back, people. So it's like in the in-between stage. So and it just is what it is. I didn't really want to get a wig. I mean, I got some wigs and they look ridiculous. But anyway, I'm off track. So I had this experience where I did 5 nights in a cave. And I say cave loosely. It was more like a building, like an adobe building, and they blacked it out. So it was it's total pitch darkness. And while I was in there, I was in there for 3 nights, and I started to get like, wow, I really I miss people. I miss connecting with people and talking to them. And the guy that owns Sky Cave Retreats is where I did that. So if you're interested in doing it, I highly recommend. It's in Oregon. It's up in the mountains. Beautiful place. I went when it was really hot. Don't recommend it. It's too hot. Sweated a lot. It's like a sweat lodge almost. I went in August, so that was not a smart move. So anyway, he said to me, well, he goes, sorry, scam. It's a scam person calling me. He said to me, I won't talk to you unless you talk to me first. I won't say anything until you talk to me first. And so he would come every single night, and he would bring food for that night and the next day. And there's like a little slide door. It's kind of like prison, right? Slide the food in and all that kind of stuff. And so he would do that every single night. And the 3rd night, I was just like, I have to say something to him. I didn't talk to him until the 3rd night, because he didn't want to ruin any experience that I was having or whatever. So I really respected that. So Scott, he would come every single night, and he would bring food for that night and the next day. And he said, I won't say anything to you unless you speak to me first. I want to honor your time and the space you're in or whatever. And so I really, really liked that. And anyway, so the 3rd night I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to go crazy. I need to talk to somebody. I feel like this was a mistake. Like, get me out of here. I signed up for 7 days. I ended up only doing 5. I say only 5 nights, total darkness, every day, every night. Like fantastic experience, difficult and fantastic all at the same time. And so the third night, I could hear him. I can actually hear him bringing in the food. And so I could hear him bringing in the food. I could not, like, if nobody was around, I couldn't hear anything. Like, you can't not hear outside or anything like that. Like, I couldn't hear him walking up outside. Just when he got into the building, I could hear him. So I said, "Hey, Scott, how are you?" And he said my name. He said Sherry. He didn't even say, "Hi, Sherry." He just said Sherry. And I don't know, at the time, I didn't know what it all meant until recently. The way that he said my name penetrated my soul in a deep, profound way, where it was like, I mean, it just went right through my body in a way that made my body was vibrating. I started to weep by the sound of my own name. And it was just this moment of like pure honor and respect and awe, and like phenomenal. Like I didn't even expect, I didn't expect anything like that to happen. And he's like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And then we just started to talk a little bit, and I was crying. I was really crying. And so what a profound experience. So fast forward to most recently, around God saying, "I called you by name," and I put it together. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I am calling you by name. I'm calling you to do some work. I'm calling you to do this message or set the captives free. No big deal. Really? Okay. So I really do think that time was created to lead up to this time of being able to share these messages of hope, and that there is a life after this, that this is not it. This is like a stopping place on the path, right? Like, this is part of the journey, is being in the physical form. And so mind-blowing experience. And I realized that I have had awkwardness over saying my own name. And now it's completely different. I say my name in a way of reverence of the name, because it was given to me by God. And so I believe that's all for everybody's name. It was given to you by God and by this divine creation, whatever you call it, universe, infinite source. We can call God all kinds of things. And so I just would say to honor your name. And I have healed this, like, it's almost like there was this inadequacy in myself around my name. And it's not even about the name, it's about me, my identity of it. Like, I identify more with this Sherry of just the soul-filled, beautiful, creative soul, right? Versus it, like, it's separate for me. I don't know what that is. I'm embarrassed to even say the name. Like, anyway, so I want to know about you and how you feel about your name. And if you like your name, and like, if you have an attachment to the name, like, all of those things are really important. So I'd love for you to comment on the video. Let me know what you're thinking and feeling. And even if you don't like it, if you have a debate, let me know, because I'm here for all. I'm open to all, open to receive all of what you have. And so thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.